I was listening to one of chief of Federal Reserves, one of the 12 Federal Reserves in the United States. He said exactly, it's not necessary to have CBDC. Whatever today's system can provide you, CBDC will provide you. You don't need, except you want to have control like in China. That means there is no necessity to have CBDC. Why they are pushing?
It is about control, essentially, at the end of the day. This is what it's really about. As I say, they will say things about how, oh, well, more payments are taking place electronically now, and that's changing the nature of money itself. And they'll talk about the Chinese and Russians and other enemy governments that are doing this already. So we have to catch up or we may lose out. And for example, in the United States, obviously, the US dollar has been the international world reserve currency for a long time, but they risk losing that status if there's a brand new type of money, a central bank digital currency that really takes off, say the Chinese yuan takes off and becomes an international standard, that the dollar might lose out. So they'll talk about that. But at the end of the day, this is about control. And I think that is most crystal clear when you actually watch Agustin Carsten's talking, as I talked about earlier, where he was talking about, well, right now we have no way of knowing what people are doing with these $100 bills that are floating around in the economy, but with a CBDC, we'll be able to see everything that's going on, every transaction that's happening. And what could possibly be the use of that? Why would they want that other than to start implementing rules, regulations, limitations on the use of money? And I don't think it takes a lot of imagination to understand why people in positions of power would want to be able to control the economic activity of their citizens. But let's just say it is the most pervasive, powerful form of control that you could have over a population, to be able to literally turn off people's ability to buy or sell in the marketplace. If they turn off your wallet and you can't use the CBDCs, and there is no cash and there is no other type of trade going on, then you will just starve to death, essentially. And if people need to understand the danger that we are walking into right now, I would say, look to Canada. Look what happened in Canada last year with the Freedom Convoy, the truckers who were protesting against the vaccine mandates, who were rolling across Canada into Ottawa to protest, peacefully protest. No one hurt, no one injured, no one assaulted as a result of this. But the Canadian government declared the Emergencies Act, calling it a national security crisis, to clear these truckers out of Ottawa. And what did they do? They started debanking some of the people involved with these protests, basically trying to shut down their bank accounts, freeze all of their accounts and all of their funds, to the point where there were people who literally couldn't make mortgage payments or really transact at all because their accounts had been frozen. And that required the implementation of the Emergencies Act and the creation of new powers for the Canadian government to be able to do this, and coordination with the banks. It was a big deal, and it took a lot of coordination to do. But in a CBDC economy, it would be a lot easier for the central bank, acting on behalf of the government, to shut people off at a moment's notice. It would not take any time at all. It would not take any coordination. It would simply be a matter of programming it in at the algorithmic level. This person's account has been limited. And that kind of control, the ability to stop people from using their own money, what more control could a government ask for? There is no possibility of dissent. Whenever there is a protest that presents a real threat to the status quo, or it actually could change things, they would be able to turn it off at the economic level. And I think that's really the danger we need to keep first and foremost. This is not about some technological innovation or some way to make it easier for you to buy a stick of gum at the local store. This is about controlling your life right down to the economic level.